Hello, welcome to Salt and Light Canning. I'm Jessica and this is my kitchen. And this is a great big pot. And today we're going to make Sloppy Joe sauce. So I have 6 1-gallon bags of mostly frozen tomatoes. I'm going to put them in the pot. Hopefully not with the whole bag, but in the pot. These are just tomatoes from our garden this year. And as they were ripening and coming in, my wonderful husband prepped them and put them in the freezer for me. And if you want to ask, they're just all the varieties of tomatoes from the garden. So nothing specific to tomato sauce, just tomatoes. I also have about 12 cups of kind of frozen zucchini. Gonna get that going in the pot. I always add zucchini to my tomato sauces. Just means that I don't have to cook them down as much. Also, it gets more vegetables in my family, so good things. I'm going to put this on the stove and get this started cooking, and I'll be back when I'm doing something else. Well, my tomatoes and my zucchini are getting, they're warm and they're not frozen anymore. So I'm going to immersion blend them. Now, if you don't have an immersion blender, you could always take your sauce out of the pot and put it through a regular blender. However you process your sauce is fine. This is what I do. All right, I have my tomatoes all ground up here and my zucchini. I'm going to add some seasoning and some peppers and onions. So these are frozen peppers from our garden this year, because as the harvest is coming in, I can what I'm able to, and then other things that are able to go in the freezer until I'm ready to make sauce go in the freezer. One of those things is peppers. I also have a gallon bag of frozen onions. And what we do is we just dice up our onions and then we put them in the freezer. Then when I need diced onions for sauce, they're ready to go. There we go. Now you can absolutely use fresh peppers and onions if that's what you have. This is what I have. Those will start melting and just get all happy in the sauce. So now I'm going to add some flavor and some seasoning to my sauce. So I have about 1.5 cups of apple cider vinegar. I don't have any brown sugar, but I do have regular sugar and molasses, and brown sugar is just regular sugar with some molasses added back. So I have about 1 cup of molasses, and I have about 3.5 cups of sugar. Now this is a very big pot, so you may not need that much. Okay, please sweeten and season your Sloppy Joe sauce how you would like to do it. I'm just taking into account I have a lot here, so it's going to need a little bit more than just, enough that I would make for dinner. This is going to be like 40 dinners, okay? I have some sweet paprika. Ooh, and a mess. That's okay. It wouldn't be my kitchen if we didn't make a mess. About 4 tablespoons. Some garlic powder. We'll do 4 tablespoons. Some mustard powder. 2 tablespoons. Some pepper. About 1.5 tablespoons. Some barbecue seasoning. 4 tablespoons. Some dehydrated onion. It just adds a different flavor. We'll do 6 tablespoons and some dehydrated bell peppers. Do 4 tablespoons. Again, they just add a different flavor than the other peppers do. Get this kind of stirred up as best we can. And before we put it in the jar, I will taste my sauce and see if I want to change anything or add anything. This is just a baseline. Just gonna let it simmer and do its thing for a little bit. Oh, I'm also gonna use some of this Worcestershire, this sauce, the W sauce. That's probably about half a cup. Everything smells just wonderful. I'm gonna let my sauce just cook and be happy together, and I'll be back when I'm doing something else. All right, so we tasted our Sloppy Joes and they are really yummy. And this is just beautiful sauce. Nothing compares to making your own sauces and your own meal starters. And if you didn't have tomatoes coming in out of the garden, I have also in the past, I've just purchased like number 10 cans of tomatoes, and they work wonderful as a sauce starter as well. So if you find some on sale and you're not growing tomatoes in your garden, I'd recommend doing that. But do what works for you, okay? Your kitchen, your canning, your rules. No matter what though, just know that, so this is take 2. Like I was saying, my sauce is done. We took it off the stove and we're jarring it up, and it's absolutely delicious. I did add a little bit of tomato paste just to help it thicken up a little bit, but it tastes wonderful. Now, because this is tomatoes and we have sugar and all the stuff, we're gonna make sure that we stick to our 1 inch of headspace, because it has been my experience that tomatoes siphon. And after working so hard and growing our food, I want to make sure that my jars, after I've spent the day in the kitchen making sauce, that my jars have the best opportunity to seal. So I make sure that I stick with that 1 inch headspace. Debubble, wipe the rims of your jars really well. I use white vinegar. Some people just use water, that's okay. Do what works for you. Lid and a ring, just to finger tight. This is just beautiful. Everything looks better in a jar. Everything looks better in a jar. I'm just gonna keep filling jars. I'll be back when I'm doing something else. Well, my canner is full and I have 7 quarts in here. The water was hot. I turned it on because my sauce is hot. You want to match temperatures. I put on my lid. I'm going to bring it up to temperature and let it vent out of this vent right here for 10 minutes. And then I'll put my weight on and bring it up to pressure, and then we will process for 25 minutes. I'll be back when I'm taking them out of the canner. Just remember, when you're doing tomatoes, you want to do everything slowly and naturally so that you can minimize siphoning. You're probably still going to have some siphoning, but just do your best to minimize it. Do everything slowly, naturally. Don't try and rush anything, okay? And you'll be much happier with your product. I'll be back in just, well, a second for you, but probably a couple hours for me. So this is actually round 2 on our counter, and I'm gonna take them out. I just cannot stress to you enough, though, to heat your stuff up slow and cool it down slow. I had a lot of siphoning on my first round, and I had a lot of jars not sealed. So Even when you know what you're doing, sometimes things just go amiss. So be slow, be patient. If you're wondering, tomatoes always look a little funky in the jar. They just do, but they taste good. These are gonna sit here overnight, and in the morning I will take the rings off and clean everything up and label them and put them in the pantry. I'll also be processing the rest of my jars tomorrow because it's just too late for me, so that's what I'm gonna do. You have to be adaptable sometimes in everything, right? And just be patient. Be kind to yourself when you mess up a canner load of stuff, and be kind to other people. And you know what? Show love and be gracious. Anyways, be so blessed. Know that you're loved because you really are. I am so thankful for you. And be a blessing to someone else. I'll see you in the next video.